With everything that's going on at the Capitol, you probably have a lot of questions to ask.
And this morning, it's your chance to ask them. UW Political Science Professor David Cannon is joining us this morning. You can call now, 270-9933. Before we go to the phone, we're going to start with a Facebook question from James. He asked, how will the recall elections impact the debate on the budget?
That's a great question. I think that probably the main impact would be to take some of the wavering Democrats and the moderate Republicans and maybe get them to be more likely to compromise. If they think that there's a chance that they're going to be recalled, it's possible that the threat of a recall election could push them closer to a compromise. I think that's the hope, anyway, of the efforts on both sides.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the phones, and the first caller we're going to take is Tom from Richland County. Tom, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hello, Tom. You're speaking to UW Professor David Cannon. Go ahead.
Yes, the governor mentioned that if we went through $1.25 billion of cuts, that we would get $1.5 billion of savings at the county level. And it seems to me that can only be by taking the highest paid workers and kicking them out the door in favor of young, inexperienced workers. Is that true, or is there some other savings I don't understand?
No, I think that you're pretty much right on target there, Tom, that the savings that the governor's talking about by giving the local authorities more of an opportunity to impose cuts, how this would happen is through layoffs, and that really the only way you can have those kinds of savings would be through layoffs, and that's why the governor in the budget repair bill is asking for a suspension of collective bargaining or an abolition of collective bargaining on so many different levels. This is where the savings would come. So I think Tom's exactly right. It would largely come through cuts.
We're going to go to another Facebook question, and Leah, we're going to use Dan, so you can put that up on the screen if you want. Dan asks, it's been referred to as an anticipated deficit. Does that mean we even have a deficit, or are we predicted to have one?
Well, in the two-year biennium, coming forward, that the fiscal year will be starting, on July 1st of this year. It's anticipated because it hasn't happened yet, and so the fiscal year is, the coming 2 years. That's why they keep on referring to it as an anticipated budget deficit. But it is real. I mean, we clearly have a shortfall in the budget that has to be made up. So there's no dispute about that among Democrats or Republicans. We all agree we've got at least a $3 billion. The lowest estimate I've seen is about 3.1, 3.2. The bigger is like 3.6 billion. So there is agreement we do have a real budget deficit here.
Okay, we're going to go back to the phones to Keith in Wanakee. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
All right, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I would like to know how much it has already cost us trying to get this bill passed and how much it'll save.
Well, okay, I'm not quite sure what he means by how much it's cost already to to get it passed. But the savings here, the governor claims that you're cutting about $4.2 billion in spending over the next 2 years. So that's going to be the amount we're spending less than would be under the current spending, and that, in addition to increases in some areas, would plug that $3.6 billion dollar hole. And so that's the rough numbers we're talking about here with the overall budget.
Okay, thanks for the call. We'll go to Jill now. Hi, Jill. Good morning.
Hey. Hello.
Hello, Jill.
I was wondering about the no-bid contracts about the energy plants and if what it looks like the Koch brothers might be purchasing them. They're known as the #1 pollutants in the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that is definitely one of the more controversial parts of the budget repair bill, is that part of the budget repair bill that says that we can sell any state utilities and not actually have a competitive bid process. And that's something the governor's been asked about. He said that it's necessary because you don't have that much competition, not that many buyers for the public utilities. But citizens watchdog groups and other groups are concerned about this because it could lead to the sale of a utility that would not be in the taxpayers' best interest. So I think the caller is right that this is an area for some concern.
Okay, and then another Facebook question we have. Mark asks, can the budget be voted on without a quorum? If not, at what point do we, quote, run out of money?
That's a really good question, too. So any fiscal matter at all, under the state constitution, any fiscal matter requires the 60% quorum. And so you cannot have a vote on the budget without at least one of the Democrats being there, because they're one vote short in the Senate. And so there can't be a vote until at least one Democrat would come back for the budget. In terms of when we actually run out of money, there are ways that they can push things into the future. So most people think that we can at least make it through probably late May before we're really in trouble, probably into June even, but it gets a little touchy at that point. Hopefully we'll have a resolution by then.
Professor, thank you. We have to leave it at that. We weren't sure how much time to give this today because we didn't know what kind of response we got. Obviously, we should do this again because we have many people holding. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to call and to ask us Facebook questions, and appreciate you coming in to see us, and we'll do it again.
Glad to be with you.
If you'd like to come back.
Sure enough.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Professor.
Yep.